Welcome to episode 193 of the weekly Shared Security Show. And joining me this week is the master of security awareness, co-host Scott Wright.
Good day.
Welcome, Scott. And also we're joined by a man who asks, when was the last time you did a pen test?
Oh, God.
Co-host Kevin Johnson.
Oh, man, that one was bad. I like it, though.
You said I said pen test.
Dang it. You just reminded me. A friend of mine who got one of my pens just wrote me and asked where he could get a replacement ink because he used up all the ink. And I forgot to send him the link. Dang it.
Well, there's your reminder.
The ink link.
So,
yeah. I won't remember in 20 minutes when we're done. But
awesome. So we have some fun stories to talk about this week. Lots in the news. Yep. And I wanted to start with this one story because it reminded me of things that Scott has done in the past. So we all know about Apple AirTags, how, these are devices, they're only like $30. You can attach them to your keys. You can attach them to, I don't know, your dog, your cat, whatever, things that get lost, right? And
your child, that person you're stalking.
Yes.
Yep. Kind of like the tiles, right? For finding lost keys and things. Yeah,
exactly. And there was an interesting kind of vulnerability that was found, which they're calling the Good Samaritan attack, right?
It's a good name.
And it's a good name. And it's because there's it looks like cross-site scripting on the website that you go to fill one of these out or to say, hey, I lost my device, please call me, right? You can, if you scan this with your iPhone or your Android device, it'll pop up a website that with instructions of how you can return the thing that you found. Right? And they're saying that this can be now replacing kind of the USB thumb drive that you would drop, at a parking lot and things like that.
It's a little bit of an extension. I want to hear Kevin's view on this because we always want to hear Kevin's view on this. But I have a couple of interesting observations, but let's hear what Kevin has to say.
If we're going to ignore the ridiculous exaggerations that Brian Krebs added to his article, which I'm cool with ignoring, I think this is an interesting attack. If it's cross-site scripting, and that's not clear, because
it's not clear, but you could make assumptions.
I'm going to make the assumption it's cross-site scripting, but from the way the article is written, it could just be, hey, I can write a message, and in that message, I can put a URL.
Exactly.
They go to. Right.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
But and that I don't think would be a vulnerability. But that's why I think this is cross-site scripting, right? It's I find it funny that we talk about stuff like this. I think cross-site scripting is one of my favorite attacks. I've said that for years. I love the idea of having a cross-site scripting attack on a little device I can just throw at people and see if they scan it, right? I mean, what was that weirdly named con? Not a con. That you and I spoke at. And we did QR codes and weaponizing QR codes. Okay, cool. You got this done. I think it's a neat attack. I think it's blown out of proportion. What I love is, so we went from here's a tag that somebody could scan and get a fake iCloud login screen to, oh man, the Department of Defense is going to be compromised and everything will be bad.
I agree mostly with Kevin. Which is unusual, but no, Kevin and I agree on a lot of things. But what I find interesting, especially from my experience with the Honey Stick project, which I did 10 years ago, was this is actually pretty concerning because of the use case. It's because it's being used to actually target a Good Samaritan. And do you remember several years ago, Tom, we did a story about these USB brochures. It was like a little punch out card you could put in, and people found them at a conference, and they're, this is somebody trying to, and it might have been an IT conference, I think, right? And so somebody was thinking they were trying to target the IT people that were at the conference. Those are much less dangerous because there's nothing really compelling. It's just a brochure or it's something, right? But from the point of view of a device or something that people recognize as, this is actually used to help locate things that people have lost. And so from that point of view, the person who picks it up and uses it is probably trying to do the right thing. And they're actually going to follow the links. And so I think there's a higher expectation for an attacker using this, that it's actually going to get used.
Yeah. Especially if you attach it to something that looks important, right? Like you take the I'm blanking on the name of it, the AirTag. I was like, it's not called Tile. That's the other device. You take the AirTag and you attach it to a wallet, right? And you throw the wallet in the parking lot.
Anything that looks reasonably valuable, or people will try to replace. In fact, that was one of the findings from the Honey Stick project, was 50% of the time when people found a phone, they would try to return it to the owner, which is good news. The only problem with it was 80% of the time, people actually went through the data if the phone didn't have a password on it.
Yeah. Well, I think I would, wouldn't you? Just see if you could find out who owned it.
That's what everybody says. Doesn't mean that you get to go through all the apps on the phone.
That's right.
No, I wouldn't go through all the apps, but I would absolutely pull up the contacts.
And that's what I was looking for in that study. We were isolating the cases where people only looked at the contacts was almost nobody.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I was trying to figure out
the most accessed app. There were like 8 fake apps, right? So there was HR,
Facebook.
There was Facebook, there was Google, there was payroll, there was Adobe Documents and email and all this stuff. The most opened app was private pics.
I could see that. that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna figure out who the person is, let's see them naked.
Anyway,
I'd like to believe that I would like to believe that I would open up the contacts. If I couldn't figure out whose phone it was immediately, call somebody and say, whose phone is this?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. What was the funniest one was that somebody found, I think it was in Santa Monica, where we had somebody drop it. And immediately within a few hours, we tracked it, for about 3 or 4 miles, and then it disappeared. So they basically reset the device. Yeah. But about a week later, we got an email saying, I found this thing. I was using it. Then I felt guilty. So I'd like to return it.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think the point of the story, obviously there's, the vulnerability, which is being fixed and so on. That's one issue. But I think the thing that's interesting to me, at least, is that, I don't think because this is an AirTag, I think you can still drop USB devices and other things. And I don't think like your data that you collected way back in the day, I think it would be pretty similar to, something today if we did that same experiment.
It's interesting. Yeah. I think, the propensity for people to do that stuff probably changes over time, but now USBs are so rare. It's almost like, this is.
Ooh, yeah. So it's like if I dropped a CD-ROM, that would actually be a challenge because no one has CD-ROM drive anymore.
Yes, I'm like looking at my desk and I'm trying to figure out, do I even have
my MacBook Pro has a drive in it.
You really don't want a response. Just drop a floppy disk and then people will be like, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, man. People will be like, where did this 3D printed save icon come from?
Exactly. Are you looking for the very best products to protect your digital privacy? Well, Silent Pocket has everything you need with their patented product line of high-quality Faraday bags, backpacks, clutches, and wallets. Visit silentpocket.com today and receive 10% off your order by using discount code SHAREDSECURITY.
You want your organization to be secure and compliant and to have a healthy culture, but your employees' lack of awareness makes you vulnerable to data theft, fraud, and compliance penalties. It's frustrating that the boring, static training content that's being used today has failed to improve employees' ability to defend against cyber attacks. At ClickArmor, we know that without using gamification, it's extremely hard to get staff to understand how to avoid threats. Our gamified simulations and challenges have provided a 50% average improvement in thousands of employees' ability to spot phishing threats. Go to clickarmor.ca/shared security to get your free gamified phishing assessment for up to 500 employees. You'll see quickly how gamified simulations can help your team be more resilient and compliant and help avoid costly ransomware and fraud incidents. Let ClickArmor help you go from being an underappreciated, stressed out fall guy to being an innovative leader who's the catalyst for greater productivity in your organization.
So in other Apple news, there was an announcement about something called Icloud Plus. Because we always add a plus to everything.
Yes.
Because it's more important and there's more things, right? And there's two interesting security and privacy features that are part of Icloud Plus, and that's Private Relay, which is essentially Apple's take on a VPN, and Hide My Email, which I think are kind of worthy of discussion of what those are, because one of our other stories that we saw in the news too, that the Apple's new private relay service actually is leaking users' real IP addresses, which I find a little bit ironic. But I did want to mention, this is I wouldn't say a new take on a VPN, but this is, kind of combining what a VPN does with something like Tor, which acts like a relay to, change the way that the information is being sent. So essentially, this private relay, what it does is it takes this 2-hop approach, as they like to call it, which is your IP address is anonymous in quotes, right? And then that maps to, say, your region, not your actual location. And then the second hop will actually decrypt that web address and then forwards them to the destination. So they say that this separation is better than a regular VPN, which has access to logs and all those other things on one system.
I think that one of the things that makes this so interesting to me, other than the fact that they've repeated the same error that every other, we're going to create a private path and, oh no, private IP addresses are still exposed. We just keep redoing that, and you would think Apple would be smarter than that. But I think the biggest point about iCloud Plus that I, as far as I can tell, I'm not seeing anybody else talk about, and I know I'm not that smart to come up with something unique, but this is going to make it trivial for millions of people to have a private, I hesitate to call it VPN, but an anonymized way to get to the network.
I agree with you.
I think that is fascinating to me, and it's going to drastically change, especially with the addition of the privacy changes that Apple has pushed. Marketing and advertising and how people
I have one question about this thing, though. So, I think it is also really intriguing, but the vulnerability that they're pointing out in the article is that some applications or services will, by default, just go directly to IP addresses that won't be proxied, right? Then the only way to get around that, I think, is to have a true VPN, right?
Well, even that doesn't really get around it.
Is it? Okay.
Because, and the reason I say that is, we have shown, we being the InfoSec community, not we being the three of us, but every single time we move a jump forward in trying to get private connections to the internet and trying to anonymize things, the browsers themselves undermine it. Because they roll out new technologies, new ways to communicate. Right off the bat, and this is a special rant from me, right? The DNS over HTTPS, right? The amount of information that's leaked because of that, the amount of, right? And so WebRTC and Stun and all of the other protocols that we bolt on top of the web browser, the traditional VPNs don't pay attention to that. And even if we can't get the communication directly, right, the code we're running in the browser is running on the endpoint, and the endpoint knows where it's at. So if we're able to fall out of that and gain access to it, these solutions, to be truly anonymous, they have to intercept all the traffic and rewrite pieces of it to prevent that. It's similar, and the only example I can give, and it's a horrible example, but it's when AOL, and yes, I know I'm old, when AOL released their anonymized search data. Do you remember that? Tom, you and I talked about that.
Oh yeah, long time ago. We talked about
a long time. We're talking like 40, 50 years. Maybe not.
Even
that might be
before
an
I was alive.
exaggeration.
Yeah.
But AOL did all this work to anonymize this data, and they're like, here, use this data, find out how people are searching, get an idea of how people use the internet. And within days, people are like, well, this priest at this church is a pedophile, and this nurse is sleeping with this teacher's husband. And like, they were just pulling data out. And it wasn't because AOL had not anonymized the names. It was because the information you search for is inherently fingerprintable.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look at my search history, there are lots of directions from 2255 Elderberry Court in Orange Park, which, by the way, for the people who are like, oh man, OSINT, my address is public, to different places or back, right? I'm regularly searching for things around me, what have you. And so you're able to narrow it down pretty quickly to one of three people that live in this house, right? Mm-hmm. And the same thing happens with these types of things at a different level, obviously. But the browsers know where they are. The browsers have histories. Until we start completely intercepting and changing data in that stream, which that ends up with a whole other privacy issue and security concern and everything else like that. I'm not recommending that. Like when Apple releases their interception proxy that rewrites content, please do not blame me. But I just, this is a problem we're never going to fix. It's one of the reasons why it irritates the piss out of me when we get privacy regulation. It's not because I don't think privacy is important. It's not because I think they're doing a bad thing. It's because you're trying to fix a problem with a sledgehammer. Yep. And it's a problem that is so nuanced. Even some of the smartest people we know miss drastic parts of it. Yeah. And I'm not saying Apple's the smartest people I know, but we've got a company who's been paying attention to technology and security and privacy for decades. We can argue whether they're doing it well or not. They've been paying attention. And what did they do? They introduced the same exact bug that Tor and all of the VPN solutions had.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then it's like, oh man, it's new. We nobody could ever predict. Bullshit. It's been predicted that every single privacy solution has had this problem.
Amazing.
Yet Apple reintroduced it.
It's like security's hard or something. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they went on Stack Overflow and they read the wrong response on Stack Overflow.
Well, the one feature I really like that's announced with Icloud Plus is hide my email. I think that's actually really nice as a way to kind of help, at least understand where your spam is going and then deleting the address and not using your real email address for basically it's like creating throwaway emails automatically.
It's like the plus feature in Gmail, right? You can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that's ever going to stop the problem of spam, but it is a good tool that people can now leverage for that. So the last stories here I wanted to cover was home surveillance. Some new developments,
robotic home
technology, robots and drones and
any robot parrots?
No, not robot parrots.
Nope, and we're not gonna go back there.
yeah. I'm sorry, Scott, but maybe if you've watched the Jetsons show, that was back in the 60s.
Oh, right.
that show came out. And Astro, the dog that everybody loves. Well, they've now, Amazon has come out with their Alexa on wheels, so to speak, which is a robot.
Mhm.
It's basically Alexa in robot form that will follow you around the house, and you could give it commands like a little puppy, and it may or may not do the things you're asking it to do like a real puppy. But this has gotten a lot of media attention. And just interested now that's just one product. And then the other one related to Amazon is in the Ring family. So they've announced this thing called the Always Home Cam, which is a Ring camera attached to a drone that can fly a path in your home that you give it instructions to do. So when a Ring alarm is triggered or a window opens or whatever, this drone will pop up, scare the crap out of your pet, and basically go somewhere that you want.
You know what I love about the article or the description says, and a feature is that it won't be stealth because it'll make noise and you'll be able to hear if it's there. Of course
First
you
thing
will.
I thought my cats are going to freak the hell out when they see this thing.
I believe very firmly that YouTube is behind this because of the sheer number of videos we're going to get of the drone flying and a cat leaping up and knocking this thing out of the air.
How many things could go bad?
Yes. A dog eating
I know
or something.
for a fact Fail Army is backing this.
It won't be as it won't be as compelling as the Roombas that run over the dog poop, but you know.
Yeah. Did anybody see the Dave Kennedy's comment about he had fake dog poop that he practiced with his new Roomba that it was supposed to detect?
No.
I want to know who is selling fake poop specifically to test Roombas. But with regards to these things, I love them. And I get the privacy issues. I get the security issues. I those concerns. Personally, I have wanted, I don't know that I'm going to buy this one, but I have wanted the ability to put a camera in my house so that when we travel but I have zero interest in installing cameras. Like I see the videos on YouTube. Yes, I watch fail videos. I also watch car crash videos. But I've never been comfortable with the idea of taking like 2 or 3 Ring cameras and putting them in various places in my house and just letting them record all the time, right? Like that.
Totally agree.
I'm not talking about, somebody can compromise my camera. No, I'm worried about, like, I don't know what happens in my house all the time. What happens when my daughter is in the shower and she walks to her bedroom and because she thinks she's alone, she doesn't grab a towel or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the idea of having something that I can trigger and it can go where I'm worried about.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me.
It is actually kind of clever. I had never thought of this use case, so it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I don't know if I like this one. I do wonder why with the little robot dude. Why? And I call it dude because Astro Boy. That's in my head. I mean, I don't understand who made the decision not to attach a vacuum to it. Like,
well, and it uses that technology too, like from Roomba.
Yeah,
I mean, really,
yeah.
That's how it it knows not to go down the stairs.
I think the vacuum is still in it, just not operating because they said it weighs 20 pounds.
Maybe that's a feature they'll enable with the software.
Maybe. I don't think so because 20 pounds. What's it got? 5 motors. Plus,
maybe the batteries, I guess. But geez,
yeah, 3 wheels, the motors, the servos to move the head.
So I think the real selling point though is like the next evolution when they can figure out how to make these go up and down stairs. Yeah, that's going to be a game changer, I think.
Yeah. And I don't even need it to go up and down stairs. I just need it. My living room is 1 step down or 1 step up, depending on the direction I'm going.
But that's where the drone does it, right? So.
Yeah, that's why you get the drone. And my house is 1 floor. I'm less worried about that. I'm actually thinking about getting to play with the drone for the house because like what I described. And I'm actually thinking about picking up the robot one for the office. We have
you gotta get in line.
I know. I'm already in line.
Gotta
I've already
request
clicked
an
the.
invite so you can
I
buy it.
did.
Oh,
I
you did.
did.
Of course you did.
Well, because I learned a long time ago, you put the request in, and when they send you the answer of okay, we're ready, you don't have to do it, right?
That's true.
It's still let me look at this more. So I put myself in line for both, and I see use cases. The office, it closes at night, nobody's there. Having something that's watching for a break-in or something like that, that's not bad.
Well, what's your use case for Astro?
That's the one. The first floor of the office. We
okay.
have the office, and yes, it's a 2-story building, but having it patrol the downstairs, I'm curious if I go to my insurance company and say, not only do I have an alarm, but I have this thing that's monitoring. Will it lower my general liability? I pay way too much money on insurance. If I can pay $1,000 and knock off a few $100.
It'd be great if they had a peripheral attachment. You could have a flashing blue light on it as it when it detects something.
Yeah. If you don't think I'm attaching lights to this thing, I am a very firm believer that the way we will know we're in the future, every sci-fi show has ever been, the reason we aren't doing faster than light travel, the reason we aren't teleporting, the reason we aren't beaming food into our houses is because we don't have enough lights on anything. Every sci-fi show you got, like,
that's a great point.
It's a teleporter.
Light,
it's got lights everywhere.
Yep.
We're just not putting enough LEDs.
And sound, of course. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and sound. Yeah. We need lights and sound, and we will leaps and bounds. It's why the Cybertruck's not ready yet. Elon did not design it with enough lights. And
Nice. Well, when you get those products in, we'd love to do a show of just Kevin's experience with this new technology.
If I get them, I will definitely.
And to stick to our security theme, he can do a pen test.
Right. A pen test of it. Yes. Throw pens at it.
Oh yeah, I will definitely throw pens at it.
See what Astro does. Very nice. Well, I think that's all we have for today. But thank you both, and for your always opinionated thoughts and comments. Right?
Security,
we love them. Yes. That's right.
Yes.
And of course, we'll be regrouping again here shortly to talk on our monthly show.
Yes,
tomorrow
during Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost went to the wrong link.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
I almost went to the monthly link, and then I'm like, wait, no, that number's not right.
Not yet. Not yet. But till then, and we'll talk to everyone next week. That's all for this week's show. Be sure to follow the Shared Security Show on Twitter and Instagram for the latest news and show updates. If you like this episode, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Show.